Welcome food fans, picky eaters, the flavor curious, and everyone in between. Nothing makes good food better than good conversation, and your table is ready. Welcome back to another episode of the Food For ThoughtCast with your hosts, Melissa Reagan and Steven Gonzalez, but you can call them Chef. All right, let's get this episode started.
Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food For ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. How are you today, Steve?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I am stoked. Today we have a guest. We are talking to Brian Baumal. He is a registered psychotherapist. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are the two of you?
Fantastic. It's just
Fantastic
Sunday.
theme. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're excited to have you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, Brian, where are you joining us from?
I am from Toronto, Canada, largest city in the country, the one with the biggest ego in the country.
I love that. So
we're probably going to ask you the same question we ask everyone who's not in our areas. What's the weather like right now?
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake, you can't. It is springtime here, and today the weather was perfectly clear in the morning, maybe at about, I guess, 10 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is, Fahrenheit. And then when I drove, it snowed. It literally snowed.
Oh my God.
And rained. Yeah, so it was all over the place, like a full buffet of weather. Warm, nice spring weather, and then a little bit of snow and sleet.
Wow.
That's insane. So Steven, you're in Midland, Texas, and what's the weather doing?
We had a cold front blowing yesterday, and normally it's really hot this time of year, and right now it's cold, it's windy, it looks like it's going to rain here shortly, and I'm not used to it. I don't know what to do. I'm having to walk around in a hoodie outside this time of year, and I'm not used to that. So yeah, it's really throwing me off right now.
Seemingly springtime is just unpredictable, no matter where you are.
Most definitely.
Oh,
Especially
here in Raleigh, we had a spring swing from 92. It will be 38 tonight. So that is why I'm in layers,
Wow.
layers and sunglasses. So, well, Brian, we are so thrilled to have you with us this evening. Thank you so much for coming on. And we ask each other and every guest that we have, what was the most amazing thing you ate this week? But I won't put you in the hot seat. I'll give you a few minutes to collect your thoughts. But Steven, what was the most amazing thing you ate this week?
It's been a while since we've had sushi. So yesterday we went to Volcano Sushi and just had a couple of rolls. We had a eel and avocado roll. I'm always a sucker for eel for some reason. And then I'm always a big fan of like the shirashi, where it's just that big bowl of like fish and rice. And that's all you really need, and filled me up. Normally I'll get about like 3-4 rolls. But this time I kind of just refrained and let what I ordered settle. And it was just the perfect amount of food,
I love that.
What about you?
I haven't made the most amazing thing I will eat this week yet, but it is on the docket. We have future guest George Blackwell sent us some seasonings as samples. He has one seasoning called Voodoo seasoning. I'm going to make chicken wings with it.
Nice.
So it sounds like it's a more mild Cajun seasoning from what I can tell looking at the package. So definitely going to do blackened wings. I'm going to do like homemade potato wedges. Can't wait. Super excited.
Nice.
So what about you, Brian?
I had a steak dinner last night with a double baked potato. It was, I guess, julienne on top, and then had a lot of spices in it, and just, you know, the way they bake it, it almost tastes like a potato chip on top. And
sounds incredible.
They are very, very good. Yes.
What kind of steak, and how'd you order it?
Oh my gosh. I think it was the top sirloin, and I order it medium. I am not a fan of raw, RAW, like I'm not a fan of very raw steak. But so medium is my threshold, because I know that steaks, sort of the raw, the less cooked they are, the more enjoyable they can tend to be. But I don't like them too raw, so medium is where I tend to go.
Yeah,
I love it. I won't go over medium. I like a medium fillet too. So, but yeah, and Steve is a huge fan of sirloin.
I do like sirloins a lot, and going medium is the perfect temperature, because you're bringing out enough of the flavor to get to that medium, and you're not cooking it out. Whereas, like, if you're medium well done, you're cooking out all that flavor, and if you're mid rare, like what I like, you're not bringing out all that, you know, natural flavor. So, yeah, fun fact.
Good.
Well, Brian, will you please tell our listeners what it is that you do?
So I'm a registered psychotherapist, and I largely work, my practice is predominantly focused on helping people with weight management, all forms of eating disorder, food addiction, and support through GLP-1s and bariatric surgery. That is about 80% of my practice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Because I bet people, when I introduced you at the top of the show, were like, "Why is he on a food podcast?" So there's the connection.
I'm not someone that goes, "Aha, you're eating a raw steak. That means you're a psychopath."
That's your mother didn't hug you enough.
I don't like the way you're holding that knife. No, it's that's not it at all. I spend my day certainly listening to people's eating patterns in many different ways. In some cases, I need to get an eating history to understand if there's a disorder or a food addiction operating in the present and past. And then as I help them through their eating, I'm asking quite regularly about the foods that they eat. I only work from a psychological level, so I don't really look at the nutritional, the nutritional or taste flavor of a food. I'm more interested in whether compulsions are coming down, the link between food and self-esteem and weight and stress. So that's how I tend to evaluate things.
Is your practice integrative at all? Like, do you partner with those types of professionals as well?
I most certainly do, because I like to say one of the reasons I think people have issues with food is because everyone can have any opinion about food, regardless of their background, regardless of their professional training. And that causes a lot of people problems. You can go into various practitioners, licensed or not, and they'll say, do keto, do intermittent fasting, avoid this, avoid that, supplement this. And that, if it's followed, can cause, or if it's suggested and then not followed, can make a person feel really guilty. Like, oh, why? They're recommending broccoli, they're recommending high protein content, but I can't eat that way. Eek. There's something wrong with me.
Right. I must be wrong.
Gotcha.
I must be wrong.
A moral failing on my part that I have ARFID and I can't eat broccoli because I don't like the texture. Right. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Or, I had a double baked potato and I shouldn't have had it.
Potatoes are bad. Right.
Or steak with high fat content wrapped in bacon is bad. And so what I prefer to tell people is I say, my agreement is with you on the psychological components of eating and food. To get nutritional help and advice beyond the most basic of layman terms, speak to a professional. So I have professionals, I have obesity management physicians I can refer to. I have nutritionists with various philosophies that I can refer to, naturopaths that I can refer to. And I do, because I don't want to make my patients worse off by saying, I recommend this.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The wellness influencer, like the grocery store grift, is like my biggest pet peeve. Like the people who have zero nutritional background, zero scientific basis, zero doctoral anything, right? And that they're like, they walk through the grocery stores and they film themselves and they go like, these potato chips are poison. Drives me insane.
Yeah,
it drives me nuts, and it does so much damage. Like,
as a layperson, I would say too much of any food over time without proper monitoring is poison to you. We can talk about that and debate about that. Rigid eating patterns could be an issue around or could have a psychological issue and component to them. I think there are some cases where everything in moderation from a psych point of view doesn't work.
Sure.
But that's what I talk to my patients about. Those with a food addiction, I don't know how far we want to go into particular diagnoses or
teach us. I like it.
or categories, but if you tell a food addict, yep, you've got a birthday party coming up, you've got a long weekend coming up, you've got this and that, you can have as much cake and ice cream as you want, and I encourage it. That's like telling an alcoholic to say, at those events, drink as much as you want because you're going to be fine. No, we know that with an addictive model, abstinence works best. And I run the risk of sounding contradictory to what I said before, which is I don't prescribe certain things to people. What I do is a full assessment. And I say, here's what I think you have.
Sure.
Check it out. Anytime I tell someone they're a food addict, I give them at least 3 resources to look at, like books, to read, podcasts to listen to. I say, you come back next time and you tell me whether you think this is something that describes you, whether it's something you can live with. And if it is, then we go from there. And if not, we also go from there and figure it out. Yeah. So I don't want to be that person that imposes rigid eating patterns on people unless they have bought into it by consulting with the addictive experts, the nutritional experts on this, medical doctors that practice keto and understand how fat and how an overconsumption of fat and cholesterol are, according to them, not a danger to them. And only when the patient agrees based on that exposure do I say, now we go ahead.
Right. Keto was developed first by a nephrologist, right?
I thought it was for epilepsy.
Epilepsy. That's right. So it was people who weren't processing protein as well, but the fat was helping their particular ailment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes. So it was developed for that, and then it became more popular. That's the thing about so many nutrition plans, is that they get co-opted by the diet industry, which is the profit industry.
Right.
And it then all becomes about having individuals who sort of own keto or own intermittent fasting or own paleo make as much money off of them as they can. So I think a lot of the genesis of many eating plans has validity to it in one way or another. But if you're just going to do diet-based keto, if you're just going to do diet-based intuitive eating, it's a recipe for disaster. And again, when that failure happens is when the psychology starts coming in. Eek, I've failed.
Right.
There's something wrong with me. I couldn't avoid that potato when I'm doing keto. So that's really what I deal with, is the self-esteem caused by very rigid eating patterns.
So something like that, have you seen a lot of people kind of like linking that with like emotional eating, like, oh, I ate this potato I shouldn't have? And I mean, is that necessarily a bad thing? You know?
No. Well, it would depend. I mean, let's just assume, let's sort of take food addiction out of the equation for a moment. I would say in my practice, anyone who is not a food addict can eat whatever they want. Everything is on the table. And what I encourage people to do is lower their expectations around weight loss and lower their expectations around perfectionism. So in an acute phase of weight loss, or even treating an eating disorder, it's okay to screw up. It is perfectly fine to have that potato. I don't know if a potato, but maybe a potato and a dessert may wipe out gains over the course of a week or something like that. Okay, not an issue. Not an issue. Or rather, let's examine the anxiety around that, so that you can get back on track tomorrow. Because here's what I say to people: if you recover from an eating mistake, have you really made a mistake?
Right.
The mistake happens when you have a potato and a dessert and then go, that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I failed.
Yeah.
I used to find that in my own experience, and if you'll be so gracious, I've not ever been diagnosed with anything except for type 2 diabetes and a thyroid issue. But I used to find that it was kind of a sunk cost fallacy. So not necessarily like money spent, but it was like I already screwed up the day and I already had this cookie, so I'm going to eat 6 more. What the hell?
Yeah.
And then I would binge it until I was past satiated. Like I would eat until I felt sick. And I felt like that punishment was enough.
Punishment was enough.
Really messed up.
But say more about the punishment being enough. Does that mean you would get back on track the next day? Or
in my own mind, right? I'm like, okay, so I screwed up, so I might as well make it real worth it. And I might as well eat until I feel really sick. And now look at this. This sick feeling is what you deserve for messing this up. And that was the end of many a day before.
Now, again, you could look at that in one of two ways, to be honest, or one of a number of ways.
Sure.
First of all, cookies, especially packaged ones like Oreos, are very much akin to alcohol.
Yeah.
They are designed to be addictive. What ends up happening with alcohol, I'm going to take a quick sidestep here.
Yeah.
You have one drink and we feel it. We are dizzy on our feet. Our inhibitions die down. Our behavior gets a little silly. We say silly things. We can observe that. We can feel it. Others can observe it and feel it. And it also makes us make bad decisions. So when we go from one drink through to 6 drinks, the same way you do with cookies, and oh my God, now I feel horrible and terrible, we know our decision making is wrong. We can feel it. We can't walk. We're saying ridiculous things that could get us fired from our job, or we say things to that friend or that relative we would never say, and we know that there's impairment there. With cookies, it just makes us eat more. It just like alcohol makes us consume more. Cookies and high sugar, high fat foods make us eat more, but we don't have the corresponding the corresponding dizziness, drunkenness, bad behavior with it. But our brain makes us consume more. And we think that that's a fundamental flaw with us. So we can go one of two ways. We could say, yeah, it's a fundamental, or oh my God, I screwed up. That's a fundamental flaw. I'm off this diet, and how horrible of me. I couldn't follow it. But if we can realize that cookie is the same as alcohol and it completely messes us up, then we can wake up the next morning and go, boy, I'm never doing that again, which is what you sort of say, Melissa, like, boy, those 6 cookies, I am over. I am over it, and I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
So, someone, if they're not an alcoholic, that is an okay eating pattern, with one exception. If there is full-blown binge eating disorder in it, if you're doing it every night, or if you then compensate for it the next day by saying, 6 cookies means 6 hours on the treadmill, or 6 cookies only means 600 calories the next day. So there's a little bit more nuance to that. But I would say if you ate 1 and then ate 6, the brain's saying I've messed up, and then I'm really going to enjoy it. Could be the sugar doing its thing.
It's a pleasure center, right?
Yeah. Or it could be you enjoying. It could be you enjoying yourself. And if you get up the next morning and just say, hey, I'm back on for the next week or next 2 weeks, and thank God I'm not going to be exposed to these or things like this cookie again for another 3 weeks, you're fine.
Do you think any of that would affect eating behaviors long term? Like I guess 10, 15 years down the road, let's say someone still has that mentality, like, oh, I had those 6 cookies, then they're beating themselves up. What do you think the long-term effects are for someone like that?
That could possibly lead to disordered eating or full-blown eating disorder behavior. What we want people to do is, again, recognize they can eat a wide variety of foods, still be healthy, still lose weight. If you shorten, or rather, if you lengthen out the amount of time weight loss will take you, then that slip up is fine. But if you continue to beat yourself up over it, a number of things begin to happen. You begin to internalize some shame around that. You begin to think, I'm never going to get the perfect body. You begin to think, I am flawed with all of this. And then if that 6 cookies happens 5 days a week, then you have problematic eating patterns, which is the same as eating disorders. It's like, again, I'll go to alcohol. You may go to family events, and there's always that one relative. He or she holds a very responsible job, is a really good person overall, but just at all of these family events, just drinks way too much, but doesn't hold any other problematic alcohol patterns, doesn't have alcohol first thing in the morning, has never driven drunk, would never consider driving drunk. There's no long-term medical damage with that behavior. We call somebody who does that, like just gets drunk at parties, we call that problematic use. And in eating, problematic use is called an eating disorder, basically, or binge eating disorder.
Yeah.
So, Brian, and for the listeners too, like, what is, and I might be oversimplifying this, but when you're talking about disordered eating and eating disorders, is that just simply the culmination of that disordered eating into a formal diagnosis? Is that, or?
Most every psychological phenomenon, depression, anxiety, OCD, even bipolar, works on a spectrum, if you will, from mild symptoms through to a full-blown clinical, very serious psychiatric condition. Mild forms may not even have chemical issues. They may be more personality linked, more just thought-based issues, as opposed to having a biological or a neurological component to them. Eating disorders are exactly the same thing. They work on a spectrum. On the low end, I would call emotional eating sort of the low end of the eating disorder spectrum. Then you have disordered eating, where people have some symptoms of it or some behaviors. They will eat much more so than normal. They may eat faster than normal. They may think, I've never been able to control my food intake. They may have some very specific concerns about their appearance and their shape and weight.
Right.
Those would be in the middle, what we call disordered eating. And a full-blown eating disorder would be sort of a diagnosable DSM criteria. And certainly there's medical involvement at that point in time with binge eating. It would be metabolic issues, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver disease, sleep apnea, which is not metabolic, but those are the big ones there. And on the restrictive side of things, you can see feeling cold, heart issues, which would include dizziness, feeling extremely tired, hair falling out, women losing their period. So certainly one of the more direct signs of a diagnosable full-blown eating disorder would be very noticeable physical symptoms, but you don't necessarily have to have all of those. Again, there's something called atypical anorexia, which is people who have every symptom of anorexia except low weight.
So that's just would be like a restrictive avoidant type deal, but they're just not full-blown symptomatic.
They don't have they do not have underweight or low BMI, but they have everything else with associated with anorexia. There are a couple of subtypes of anorexia. There's binge purge, binge restrict, full restrict in all this. I will say it another way, and maybe because I know we're not dealing with a fully psychological podcast or topic here. Eating disorders are very much like a runaway train. And what I mean by that is, before you find yourself on the runaway train zooming at 500 miles an hour, you, a couple of weeks beforehand, think, I want to go to New York. I'm going to take the train. You buy your ticket online, you pack your bag, you go to the train station, you get on the train starts, and then it becomes a runaway train. So, you don't find yourself there immediately. And eating disorders are very much the same. It can start with a diet, or with saying, I want to try keto, for example. It's not a full-blown eating disorder by any means. Removal of a food can be a symptom of disordered eating. Somebody will go, I'm doing really well on this keto diet. I'm going to exercise a little bit more than what I'm doing now. Boy, I'm getting a lot of compliments. The exercise and the keto are doing well. You know what? Keto is really high in calories. If I can do the keto and restrict, or if I can do the keto at only 1,000 calories a day, whoa, I'm really doing better. And all of that is propped up by people saying, I'm doing really well on this. This is what I've wanted my whole life. Boy, I'm getting compliments around me.
Yeah.
The CEO of the firm, who's never recognized me before, out of a meeting of 300 people, comes up to me and goes, I noticed you lost weight. CEO of the firm is recognizing me. I must be doing something right.
It's an affirmation. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So it's that runaway train where there are a number of things, and you can get stuck, not necessarily on the runaway train end or the full-blown eating disorder end. You can just get stuck somewhere in the middle of that. Some logic can kick in and go, whoa, I'm doing keto, I'm exercising, but going to 800 calories a day, I know that's bad.
That's a toddler.
What's that?
That's less than a toddler.
Yeah.
Right.
That's wild.
Speaking of which, toddlers and starting somewhere, it all starts somewhere. A lot of people will say that it all started when I was a kid. How do you think our childhood shapes the way that we eat as adults now?
It's such a narrative, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It writes your whole story.
From a nutritional point of view, I have a colleague of mine who specializes in nutrition for children. So I'm not going to get into the biology and the nutritional facts of it, but certainly there are a lot of theories out there that say how we are fed as children absolutely influences our eating behavior from a nutritional, developmental, neurological point of view. From a psychological point of view, which is where I specialize in, one of the worst offenders is eat everything on your plate. Eat everything, we put it
clean plate.
Put it in front of you, clean it.
Yeah.
What you've immediately done, what the parent has immediately done, has put the person at war with their body, because the child may go, I'm full only after half of this. I'm full. The body is saying that to them. Yeah. But you have to eat more before you get dessert, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the offenders. Another one is when a family or a family member has a significant preoccupation with weight. A day does not go by where I don't hear this, not just once, but twice, probably twice a day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my family all comments on weight. I made a joke once. There used to be shirts around that said, I went to Disney World and all I got, or my family went to Disney World, all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
Right.
I want to make a shirt that says, I went to Disney World and I didn't put on a pound. Like that. Families, they talk about that. I went on a cruise and I didn't lose that, or I didn't gain any weight. It was great. I went to Italy. I ate all this pasta and so on and so forth, and I lost 3 pounds.
Well, you walked everywhere.
Well, right. But the point is, though, the vacation is about weight. It's about weight. It's not about what you enjoyed in Italy or the cruise. So early on in our childhood, or especially as teens, the comments that come to us from our family can be devastating for us. That over focus on weight, and it gets bad. It can get really bad. And the worst part is most of the offenders think they're doing good. From a psych point of view, finish your plate and an over focus on weight set people up. Also, participating in athletics at a somewhat high level, like we're not just talking a street hockey league or playing in high school,
like gymnastics or
ballet, even and for males, for male sports as well. It can be any kind of organized sport where weight and muscle tone all of a sudden becomes very important. And the adults in that area encourage weight loss at any cost. We'll sort of do fat caliper readings in the change room as well. So that's another thing in our youth that sets us up for it.
Well, that's a really funny, not funny, but interesting, intriguing rather, boomerang as you get further into teenage and adulthood, because then the other question is not, or the statements become less of like, you need to clean your plate, there's kids that are going without, there's starving kids in Africa, blah, 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 to then, are you really going to eat all that? It's like, why shouldn't I? I'm hungry and I made my plate. Like, why shouldn't I eat all this?
You can't win it. You can't win it.
And on, you know, at least for women, but I can speak to it, right? Like, is like the fat phobia becomes a aggression. It becomes like this person is less than because they're big. This person is ugly because they're fat. This person contributes less to society. And then the stigma is like, this person's overweight, therefore they are lazy, right? Undisciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was overweight for a really long time. I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 2.5 years ago. And the first thing I asked was, did I do this? And he was like, no, it's not how that works.
Oh, you are okay. So your physician is a godsend.
100%. Because the first thing I wanted to know, and it's funny, like we talked about potatoes at the top of the hour, and the first thing I wanted to know was, I really respect both sides of the medical industry. I like the Western approach, and I like the naturopath, approach. And I kind of like the idea of an integrated, like a holistic approach. And so the first thing I asked was like, and this is before any talk of medications, was like, could I fix this through like lifestyle, diet? And he goes, yeah, you could, but like, don't you want to eat potatoes? He's like, all you're going to do is try to cut carbs and you're going to be miserable. Don't you just want to eat potatoes and bread and like still enjoy? And I was like, oh, I really wasn't thinking about me enjoying it. I was thinking about punishing myself for a disease I thought was my fault. Like, like.
And then see, this is it. You become your own worst enemy. So the enemies are initially outside you, and then they come rushing. They come rushing in. I'll give you just one quick anecdote. My own son is now 18 years old, but around the age of 7 or 8, started putting on a lot of weight. And before I continue, how this story finishes, to me, it doesn't make a difference if my son is heavy, lightweight, thin, tall, short, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. But at age 8, he put on a lot of weight. And COVID then happened, and we all isolated, and my son grew. And there were many family members and friends who hadn't seen him for a number of years. And when they saw him again, he had gone through puberty and thinned out and shot up. And I remember some people coming up to me and they said, wow, Brian, given your profession, you must have known exactly what to tell him. I said, my profession told me to say nothing. Boom. What?
You could do so much damage.
Yeah.
He probably already had those expectations based on what you did for a living. He probably thought in the back of his mind, I can't speak for him, but like, I
never thought of it, but my profession is say nothing.
Sure.
Now, in fairness to the parents, though, during this period, I had a lot of anxiety as a parent. My child may not be doing well. There may be something wrong with my child. Maybe there's more to this going on. Maybe there is secret eating or something which would suggest another problem. So what I had to do was manage my anxiety. And so in all fairness to parents, they're not therapists out there. And when they have a sense that their child is in danger or going off track, they will do something about it. So let's not necessarily fully demonize the parents in that situation. But it was just the comments were like, wow, Brian, thank God you do what you do. You're really like, you must have told them exactly what to do. No, my profession said say nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine a lot of parents would go in with good intentions, but it could definitely have some long-term effects. If I may kind of go back to the sports, you were talking about like how sports, football or wrestling or, like people are constantly tracking, what they eat. Like, how can someone pursue like that fat loss or muscle gain without developing an unhealthy relationship with food?
That is an amazing question. And the answer is do it for every reason except for losing weight or except for building up your self-esteem. You can allow a little bit, there's a balance there. I myself have maintained a 100-pound weight loss for over 14, or for it'll be 14 years.
Congratulations.
That's how I got into the field. We were talking about, you often ask how we get into
Oh, wow. Yeah.
the field. So that's how I got into this. And as someone who has been through it, appearance and self-esteem are a factor. But when they become the sole factor, that's problematic. When you're weighing yourself 3 times a day, I did I also had restrictive eating. When you weigh yourself 3 times a day, which I did, when the comments from family and friends become the only reason you're doing things, that's a problem. If you can use it to build up confidence in yourself and say, oh my God, I'm running more, I'm lifting more, it shows me I can do a lot or more than I thought. That's very functional and very helpful for you. But when it turns into, I've got to lose another 5 pounds, I've got to lose another 5 pounds, I've got to cut another 2 minutes off my run, I got to get another inch around my bicep, you're not a competitive athlete.
Yeah.
And again, I say that only because they can become runaway trains.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Kind of like a runaway train. We went full steam ahead into the topic, so I hadn't had a chance to ask you yet, like, how did you get involved with food in this way? But I think there's something particularly compelling, and like it's just even a stronger kind of victory story, right? About how you step into a career choice because you've got a personal connection there. It's not like somebody's like, I became an engineer for the money, right? Like, I mean, which is also respectable. I get it. But I think, it's really incredible that you've got that personal connection there. If somebody's pursuing weight loss or fat loss, not for the scale and not for, maybe it's the non-scale victories, right? I want to buckle a seatbelt on an airplane. I want to be able to cross my legs in this chair. I want to be able to, I want to feel good. Is the other side of that also like, can be orthorexia, when you're like, I want to be healthy, but then you're like obsessed with being healthy?
Yes. So orthorexia is a relative, actually, I don't think it's in the DSM. I was wondering
if it was like official or not.
No, I don't believe it is. So orthorexia, we'll just call it a newish eating pattern, which is where people focus on or over focus on the health content of food, whatever that may be for them. It could be rigid adherence to a diet, or it could be the whole gamut. GMO free, gluten free, no artificial ingredients, no dyes, whatever.
Label reading as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it is often, again, to control shape and weight. That's a common denominator across most serious forms of eating disorders, is I need to lose weight. I must look better than I do now. So orthorexia has that in it as well. I am doing this in order to eat better. When a diabetic, barring what you said, Melissa, but if a diabetic has to reduce their carbs,
sure,
or if someone with celiac has to reduce their gluten, they're doing it for health. They're doing it for health reasons.
Right.
So when you're doing it for a health reason, and even or for a biological medical reason, that there's no issue there. It's when it crosses over into I'm just need to look good kind of thing.
Where do you think the line is between like that discipline and obsession?
This, what I'm enjoying about this podcast is or what I'm really enjoying is that these are the questions are fantastic. If I were doing a purely psychological, but these questions wouldn't happen. Just because, but that's the point. It's very subjective.
Yeah.
It's very, very subjective. Look, I'll give you my own experience. I said I maintained 100-pound weight loss, but prior to that, I had exercise bulimia. And I was only at the worst, I was only eating 800 calories a day, working out twice a day in secret. And the line is just when it becomes obsessive. And sometimes people can figure that out on their own. Sometimes they may need a professional to say, whoa, 800 calories a day working out in secret twice a day, you got a problem.
Yeah.
But it's a really gray line.
I think seemingly anything that you feel like you need to hide from somebody else is a red flag.
Right. But to Steve's point,
yeah.
I don't want to be overly prescriptive.
Well, sure.
Right. People. So that line, what I would say is, do you have enough good judgment to know when you've crossed it on your own? And that's where therapy for a lot of eating disorders really comes in. Let's build up a number of decision-making factors in you. Let's build up some self-esteem in you. Mm-hmm. Let's assume that the CEO noticing you that you've lost weight isn't the whole world.
Sure.
Let's take that out and see where the line is. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. And also, can we make 2026 the year where we don't comment on people's weight, even if it's good? Like, just shut up. Like, just stop it. Sorry, just stop commenting on other people's bodies. Well, I hate it because you never know what somebody's going through. Like,
it's funny that your CEO example hits a little bit close to me because, like, over the last, 2-3 weeks, I've lost a little bit of weight here and there, being a little bit more regimented. I call it structure because to me, it keeps me balanced. And I've been getting, positive compliments like, you're looking healthier, you're looking good. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm trying not to obsess with it because I find myself with my structured diet and things like that now, like I feel a million times better. I have a lot more energy. I feel, energized to just go seize the day, all that fun stuff. And when I do catch myself, obsessing a little bit over it, I think that's where I say, okay, you're doing good. Keep it up. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. You feel good. That's what's most important.
Right. That's it. That is it where you can draw that line for you can draw that line for yourself. Another perhaps important marker is, are you spending too much of your day working out, preparing meals? Like if you work, let's just assume you work 9 to 5, but are you then going from 5 to 9 at the gym? When you work 9 to 5, are you always thinking, is this too big? Is this too big? Did I put on weight? What's my next meal?
Yeah.
What's my next meal? I overate. When your thoughts get to the obsessive point that you can't concentrate on the work that you do, those are some pretty strong indications there. And people with full-blown eating disorders, both binge and restrict, think an awful lot about food. And the normal eating pattern, or thinking a lot about food, would be, I am so looking forward to going and trying Melissa and Steve's chicken wings, or what was the other thing that you ate that was really good?
Sushi.
I am looking forward to that. I've had a crappy week. I am looking forward to it. That is great. The obsession would be, oh my God, I'm looking forward to these chicken wings. I know I'm going to eat them and I'm going to regret it. Oh boy, I'm going to regret it.
found myself, the only time I beat myself up at work is when I try to have like a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner. So I try to have my 3 square meals a day. The only time I beat myself up is if like my lunch is either a little bit too late or it's like, crap, I better eat. And fortunately, I've got that flexibility at work to where I can do it. So, you know, I in my 20s, I used to really stress about stuff like that. Like I have to have, you know, 4 to 5 good meals a day, this and that. Now, as I get a little older, it's like, you know what? I got energy like I'm in my 20s. I'm good. And it took me a long time to get to that mentality, you know?
I'll ask one question. You know, what do you think flipped the switch? How did you get to that mentality?
So when I was 20, 21, I was working out with a friend of mine, and he got me into like natural bodybuilding, and he's very, very, very strict, and he got a lot of results. So that had a little bit of an effect on me. And of course, when I got off of that, I just went crazy, you know, like, you know, living the restaurant lifestyle, eating a lot, drinking a lot, things like that. And, you know, throughout my 30s, it was, okay, I'm getting a little bit of weight. I have to eat better. And then my wife would say, well, let's go have pizza. And, you know, like I would constantly fall into that trap of, I have to eat better. And I think right now, again, now that I found structure that works for me, I think that's really helped out a lot, you know?
And that's a good line. Or that's a good way of defining the line. Structure that works for me in a way that keeps me healthy, energized, with generally having a good appearance, generally having good health. Yeah. And that's exactly what people need to find. And what disordered eating is it is overly structured on either one end or the other.
Yeah. So, and let me backpedal just a little bit. My friend that I was working out with, he taught me a lot of really good habits. He's all about, you know, like health and whatnot, and that's great. And you know, a lot of those lessons I still carry to this day. But you know, I would catch myself constantly beating myself up over having like, you know, alcohol or pizza or whatever it was. And I just found what works for me. That's it. And to stop the beating up, we can expand this. You know, you talk about beating yourself up for pizza and alcohol. Food works on a spectrum. It's for fuel not for fun, but one side is fuel, one side is fun. But it has to be a mixture of both, being flexible within a certain range. It can't all be for fuel. That's going to lead to disaster, and it can't all be for fun. That's also and someone who like tracked. I've never tracked my calories before, like up until again recently. And it's just I'm just tracking how much protein I'm getting, things like that. But like people who track their calories and their macros, do you think that could psychologically be harmful?
More often than not, yes, but not all the time. Like if somebody comes in, and I've had this many times, when they come in for just sort of weight management and they don't think they have an eating disorder, and they come in and they show me their phone and they say, look, I've got every meal logged. It's sort of one check mark in possible disordered eating. But having worked with many people, there are some people who just like their numbers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Physicians. Some people are just data driven that way.
Right. Physicians,
like
accountants. And I will have that discussion with them. I'll say, if you want to, like, we'll talk, please track them. Let's see where they go. And oftentimes I'll say, look, I'm a computer programmer. I work with numbers all day. It's in, out, left, right data. Yeah. For me, I need to see that. And let's give it a shot.
The interesting thing is, like, I have been in this business for a really long time, and I initially got into the business because I wanted to create. So food was just entertainment. It was just entertainment. And I was just going to ask you, if you talked about how thinking about your next meal, like you could be obsessing about your next meal. And so I just want to ask you about food noise. Like food noise is a term that I hadn't heard until I was prescribed a GLP-1.
Yeah.
And I really never understood. In my specific case, I just didn't have a full switch. Like I never felt sated ever. I could be on the brink of vomiting and still be like,
Yeah.
hey, what are we eating next, right? And it was also that way with alcohol because I had a hyperthyroidism, just revving my metabolism to the point where I wasn't, the hyper should have been making me lose weight. My A1C was also 13. And I could outdrink a sailor and feel no ill effects. And I could eat 2 entrees, an appetizer, and a dessert. I'd take a dessert to go and eat it in the car. It would never make it out of the parking lot and still just not feel sick. It was just like a normal day because it was just revving my metabolism and it was just revving that hunger switch. But I never thought about food noise in the other way, as in like, I guess I'm sorry, I'm just taking my sweet question, but like, is food noise automatically intrusive? Could it also be anticipating I'm going to a party, we're going to have...
Well, again, there's a spectrum to it. I would say food noise of looking forward to a really good meal is normal. Wow, this is great. They're trying something new. I've always wanted to try it. I love sushi. When I know I'm going to go for sushi, I'm like, oh, I really hope this is good.
Sushi is Steve's comfort food.
You mentioned that, Steve. I was saying life is too short for bad sushi. I just, of course I'm going to anticipate it.
Sure.
No, I mean, the problematic food noise is when there are a couple of characteristics of problematic food noise. Number one, when it is too loud, when it distracts you from what you're doing, when it forces you to eat, and perhaps the worst kind is when it talks to you in a very demeaning way. Like, I demand that you eat. I demand that you starve. I demand that you do this. You are a bad person if you don't do this. So it runs a spectrum. I would say within food noise, you have normal food noise, from emotional food noise, like, oh, I had a hard day. Ice cream is perfect. Ice cream is perfect. You gotta have ice cream. Through to eating disorder, food noise, like, oh, can't have this, can't have that. Or on the binge side, I need 5 hamburgers. I need 5 hamburgers. Through to addictive food noise, which is, I don't care that you've got type 2 diabetes. I don't care that you've got an artery that is 80% clogged. We are having 3 extra value meals at McDonald's. And if you don't get it, I'm going to bug the crap out of you.
Like you can't stop it.
Right. The same way an alcoholic, the alcohol noise in them is drink.
Or somebody with like OCD.
Yeah.
So I have to do this.
OCD is a bit different because, again, I'm not psychiatrically trained, but addictive food noise is a hijacking of our reward center and our survival center. And it's like, eat, drink, do drugs, eat, drink, do drugs. OCD is a bit different because the O, which is the obsession, and the C, which is the behavior, are linked but separate. So that's one factor. Whereas in addiction, they're really kind of related. But having said that, though, there are many mental health professionals who consider eating disorders as a variant of OCD. So you're not far, but it's not the addiction.
Sure.
The addiction is not OCD.
It's the compulsion.
Right, but the disordered eating, the compulsion or very compulsive food noise can be addictive. But the obsession with disordered eating would be lose weight, and then the compulsion would be exercise, or the disorder or the compulsion would be, oh, a burger is exactly what you need, and you need 5 of them, and you need 5 more of them. Whereas the addiction is eat, 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 eat. It's a different kind of noise, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Brian, are you doing okay on time? Because I'm fascinated.
We can keep going.
I'm loving it. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, I've got a thought-provoking question. So like someone who doesn't manage well with like the food noise, do you think they can ever fully heal their relationship with food, or is it something that they're always going to manage?
I'm going to talk more psychologically in general. Like we could talk depression, anxiety, and all of this. There, in my view, are 2 types of positive outcomes with psychological treatment. One is where the thoughts get eliminated entirely. You don't have depressive thoughts, and you don't have food thoughts. You don't have anxious thoughts. You don't have obsessive thoughts. That can happen. The other sort of cure is you have the thoughts, you can have the food noise, it gets dialed down a little bit, and then you have tools that can be deployed on a regular basis to use them, or to manage them. And some of those tools can be moderation. Some of those tools can be things like, oh, I'm concerned about my weight. I'm concerned about my weight. And you have tools to manage that. I know I'm okay. I know I'm okay. Or numerous other things. Like I need to call someone and just talk to them about it is a tool that you can use. Right. So sometimes we can fully get rid of the thoughts and behaviors. Other times we actively have to use tools. One of the first treatments in psychological treatment is having people feel okay that they need a tool. Think about
removing I'm broken.
I'm broken. I need a tool.
I screwed up.
My friend can eat as many cookies as he wants, and he doesn't have a problem.
Yep.
But why can't I be Brian? Fix me like him, and I hear that all the time. Like, well, no, you may need a tool, and I just say, look, your friend may be walking around with a cane because he has a bum knee. You don't have that. He needs a tool.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. You can certainly you can become very, very functional. As to whether the thoughts go away, it's kind of a roll of the dice, actually.
Well, Stephen, I'll be a little bit vulnerable with you. Like, I went on this GLP-1, and I started at the lowest, which is a 2.5 milligram Mounjaro weekly. Mm-hmm. I'm on at 10 right now, which I would considering maintenance for me, and. Yeah. I lost 110 pounds without setting a foot in a gym.
Yeah.
I lost 110 pounds like the day before I took the first shot. I binge ate like I always do. And I woke up the next day and had zero hunger. It was like a switch flipped.
Yeah.
And I would probably, I don't know diagnostically, but like I would consider mine a bit of a success story because I've not had a lot of the side effects that have affected other people. I think I just got really lucky. I'm not sure. And it manages my A1C to where I don't take any additional meds for my diabetes. And I haven't really changed the way I eat except for the amount. So I don't count a carb. I let myself have full sugar desserts, but my palate has changed. So I don't enjoy full sugar desserts anymore. And it's really changed my relationship with food to the point where, I get full much faster, but like I also experience real hunger and real fullness cues. But that food noise got replaced with something that I would consider equally as damaging that I have used talk therapy to work through. And that is, I have been accused by other people in the weight loss community of cheating to lose my weight because I didn't suffer to do so, which is awful. It's like now, it's like a survivor mentality of like, why me? Like, why was I able to lose this? I mean, it changed my life for the better. I won't say that I'm happy I got diagnosed with diabetes, but it might have changed my life for the better. I mean, I was 200 240 pounds, like,
Yeah.
I don't have knee pain. I don't have back pain. I have a healthy relationship with food. But it's also the same reason why when my doctor was like, would you want to go down to the 7.5? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, why? Are you afraid that you're going to binge eat? And I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to hear the food noise and not know what to do with it. Like now I'm so used to take my shot on Wednesdays, not hungry on Thursday, eat small meal Friday, like it's very comfortable and it feels safe. But yeah, I've literally had people accuse me of cheating to lose weight. It's like, well, you wouldn't tell somebody with cancer that chemo is cheating. That's awful. Like, that's terrible. But women, man, we cannibalize our own. It's the same way that, Stephen, like women can sit around a table at a restaurant and go, should we be bad and order dessert? Like, what in the hell is bad about dessert? I had 3 beignets today and they were awesome. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, Brian, weigh in. I know you want to.
This, I'm guessing about 80% of people would only hear this audio, but as you were saying that you were being villainized by the weight management community, I don't know if you guys saw it. My head was my forehead was right in my hand.
It was just awful. It's like, man, you guys are really hate anybody that's not just gym ratting to do this, don't you?
Yeah.
GLP-1s in my view are fantastic. I mean, I work in weight management,
sure,
eating disorders, food addiction, and the management area. Eating disorders and food addiction have different views. I'm not going to get into those. I think, first of all, GLP-1s are a medical product that I don't have medical training in. But from a weight management point of view, if it works, for God's sakes, I am thrilled that it, and it is not the easy way out in many different ways. You may have had a situation where it did turn out to have an easy ride, but we consider weight loss medications generally as tools. They are not the solution to it, because you can feel fuller faster. The weight loss medications delay stomach emptying. They slow down peristalsis, which is a contraction of muscles, so you feel fuller longer. But if you're at war with your body, if you were always told, eat until you are full, or eat the full plate, if that's always ingrained in you, the GLP-1 may not be effective if your brain overrides that.
Yeah.
There's certainly been times where I've out-eaten it, and I can tell immediately, but it's not so much a psychological, it's not like an emotional sadness. It's more like I'm uncomfortable and I'm not used to feeling uncomfortable. So now this is kind of scary, but then the next day I just start over with an empty tank, right? Yeah. I hate that I ever said this, but when I was overweight, I had this saying where I would go, it's not a meal until I hate myself. Wasn't about being full. It's not a meal until I hate myself, said with just a sarcasm that I thought was hilarious. It was just self-deprecating. It's crapping on yourself, Yeah. I call it self-defecating humor. When you shit on yourself for no reason,
I like that.
So, but, I just think, it's funny because there is why me? It's like if you survived like a horrific car crash or whatever, like there's a part of me that sometimes is like, can I take the easy way out? And then I remember like how hard it was to go between doses and how challenging it was to see food as fuel again. And kind of like my whole life really changed, like I will jokingly tell people now I don't have any vices left. I smoked cigarettes for 18 years and you could probably say I replaced some of that with food, which is normal. There's an oral fixation there, right? Like that's very much a scientific, if you've got an addictive personality, I like to gamble. I would say that I've got an addictive personality, but, I like to drink. I get kind of bummed out. I can't hang now. I think I have 2 or 3 drinks. I'm like, well, what am I really upset that I'm missing, right? Like, is it because I want to feel out of control? Like there's a fun factor there where I want to feel kind of out of control, but I want to feel like I can control that. So at its core, it's really, I want to feel in control of being out of control, right? And now I can't do it because I take an injection every week that makes me full faster. It makes my alcohol tolerance lower because it empties, slowly. But then I go like, well, am I really upset that I can't have a whole pizza? Or like, why do I want to eat a whole pizza? Am I upset? And now I feel like I need a vice, or do I really just need to feel the feelings? And that's what I'm upset about.
We talk about tools. You have the tools to ask yourself these questions. You are self-therapizing your
building that awareness sucks, and it's a really hard process. Sorry.
No, it is. That's why food therapy, disordered eating therapy, food addiction therapy is really, really tough, because you're getting at questions that are very fundamental to people. You're getting, the whole self-deprecate. Like, as a therapist, I would say, my God, that's got to be a horrible way to live. That totally. you don't consider it a meal until you insult yourself.
100%.
At the end of that's the cherry on the top, right there. Just a kick in the ass, or a kick in the stomach.
Yeah.
With it, and GLP-1s, I believe they are hypothesized to work in the brain, like in the reward centers. I was at a medical conference. A physician stated definitively that they do work in the brain. My understanding is researchers are still trying to find the link. There are 3 ways they work. First of all, delay stomach emptying. Second of all, they rebalance leptin, ghrelin, and insulin, which combined together change your hunger and satiety. So they reduce your hunger and increase your satiety. Those are the 2 known mechanisms of action. And then I believe they're also trying to see if they work in the brain as well. And you could have just been very lucky that you had all 3 work together. And thank God for that.
I can't imagine. So I used to call myself a beverage gremlin, and I would count it as mark of honor that I would sit at my regular bar and have a water and iced tea, because that's water with flavor, a beer, a cocktail, and a shot. And my regular bartenders would have that set up for me when I got in there. And he'd never put 2 and 2 together that, excessive thirst is like a diabetes, like a hallmark, like this is a hallmark symptom of type 2 diabetes. But now I'm lucky if I get my water intake in for the day. But they do think that it turns off that noise, but man, there's something deeply emotional about that noise, because you go like, well, I'm just hungry all the time because I'm fat, and fat people are just going to act like fat people. Like, there's just something very demeaning there. That narrative that tape that can play, right, is like, well, I just must be hungry because I'm a fatty.
Yeah, see, like, and that, but when we talk about eating disorders, one thing that I will say is restriction, purging, and binging are all very different behaviors. But the underlying psychology is exactly the same. When you say something like, well, that's the way I am, I'm a fatty and fatty gotta eat. Gotta eat. That is low self-esteem. And people who have anorexia think, my weight, I want that CEO to see me again and again and again and again. I'm going to get promoted. Low self-esteem as well. A fatty will, I'm using your language. I'm not being derogatory.
No, I did it first. So
yeah. Someone who suffers from binge eating disorder thinks, I'm never going to get the body that I want. This is the way I am. I will never lose weight. I will never be effective at it. I'm just going to eat. The anorexic or the restrictor is the exact opposite. It's working for them. Aha, I can get it. I can be thin. I will always be thin. So the binger says, I'm never going to be thin. The restrictor says, I'm always going to be thin. And the bulimic, the one that binges and purges, says, I can have my cake and eat it too. I can binge and be thin at the same time. So weight and self-esteem underlies all of them. Wow. And one thing that is very common with disordered eating is that people switch between them quite regularly. It's very common to hear somebody being anorexic or restrictive and over time switching to binging and all the way back and forth.
Wow.
So you have said it the way you said it there about your self-deprecation describes the whole spectrum of eating disorders, the whole spectrum of negative relationships with food. And because we have to eat anywhere from 3 to 6 times a day, because we have to prepare our food, buy our food, feed other people, think about what we're going to eat for the week. To have a horrible relationship with food when you have to think about it dozens of times a day, naturally, is hell.
It's awful.
It's hell and awful. So we are really improving people's lives more than we are their weight or relationship with food, because we just want you to have a day where you think normally about food. I've got to go shopping this week. It's not going to be a minefield going through the grocery store. I can do it and not worry about it.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. Like, what a way that you help people. That's so cool.
Thank you, and what a way, and both of you for being very vulnerable in what you've in what you shared. As I mentioned, I've listened to your podcast. I've caught about half a dozen episodes while driving, and I know this is a bit of a different topic, but in the end, it is about celebrating food, enjoying food, realizing that food runs a spectrum of fuel and fun, and the way we prepare our food and eat our food should be a gift to us. But for many reasons, for many of us, it is not. Whether there's a food addiction, a full-blown eating disorder, or even emotional eating. So what I would like your audience to realize when they listen to other episodes of the podcast is that food can be that enjoyable, and it should be that enjoyable. Talking about preparing it and spices for it, and what did you eat today without feeling guilty. Like I certainly don't feel guilty that I have double baked potato and that I'm in eating disorder weight management.
I hate the black, white, good, bad food paradigm. It kills me. I think I've run the gamut of like all the diets. I won't say that I've done like the cayenne, lemon water, whatever it is, or the cabbage soup. But like I certainly did try keto for a while. And I'm sorry, I like bread. No offense to anybody who likes it. It's just the emotional struggle of like regimenting something that hard. And I think at my core, I don't like being told what to do anyway. So trying to impose it on myself is like a lose-lose. But I think paleo cracks me up the heart. Like the demonizing of one food group, like really cracks me up the hardest. Like paleo, they didn't live as long. Like why in the world are we, they weren't as smart. They didn't live as long, and life was really hard. Like what is it that you're trying to replicate? I don't know. It's this fantasy
very
of the good old days.
Because packaged food, for all of its problems and issues, has made us arguably, very arguably, more prosperous or more food secure in some kind of in some kind of ways. So it's so very complicated. It's unfortunate that our food supply has been it's just been capitalized or is run through the capitalist system for the most part. So it's all about profit and making these foods as cheaply and addictively as possible and not as nutritional as they can be. But it's given us food security. For those of us that can afford it in a North American or modern European society, hey, I can go to McDonald's if I truly need food. If I need something
but the chemicals is the cry of the privileged, because if you live in a food desert, that might be all that you I was constantly trying to bring awareness to this. I can't believe how good I have it, but like, man, it's just about perspective. Like, I don't know.
It's a very, very complicated area, and that's what I mean. I certainly didn't realize it would be this complicated when I entered the field. But boy, is it rewarding! Whew, incredibly rewarding.
I bet it is. I mean, I can't. I can just imagine like the kind of unlock that you're able to provide, which is like really awesome, and maybe that some people never get. But I imagine it's like incredibly rewarding.
Well, what we found here is that all three of us, we all have very different food stories, but they are all very fascinating and they speak more than just the food. They speak about us as people. It speaks about us as a society and a culture. It speaks about us as being supportive of one another. Steve, you had a friend that did help you in some kind of way. And if that's taken too far by a certain person, it can be dangerous. Sounds like your friend was able to balance it quite well, and now you've learned it, and now you've incorporated it in. So every one of us has got a food story. That is absolutely for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want you to know that the chef or not, like you've been an amazing guest for us. We're called the Food for ThoughtCast, so it's not all just about like recipes and cooking. And there's a huge connection between what we eat in the brain and how it works and everything else. So this has just been incredible.
Yes. I very much enjoyed it. It has been absolutely fantastic to speak with both of you. It is just a topic that spans so many areas. Everyone's got an opinion on it, and I just have an opinion on it as well. I only look at it from the psych point of view. And again, as is pointed out, there's lots of grays. Where is the line and everything? It's gray depending upon the individual, the health goals, the history. So it's a very dynamic topic, and thank God for your podcast, and thank God for having me on. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Brian, I hope you have a wonderful week. Stick around after we stop recording. We'll chat for just a minute. But for everybody, I'm Melissa. This is Steve and Brian, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
That's a wrap for today. Until the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast, make good food, eat good food, share it, and be kind to one another.
Thanks so much for listening today. You are part of what makes us special, and we are so glad you joined us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Just like food, delicious podcasts are better when you share them with others. Come back for seconds wherever podcasts are served, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Food for ThoughtCast, or at www.foodforthoughtcast.com, where you can link to all podcast players, or you can send us an email at foodforthoughtcmc@gmail.com.